Assalamu alaikum.
This is Safiya.
And this is Maal.
And today we're going to talk about Zakat.
So there are two types of Zakat, Zakatul Fitr and Zakatul Maal. I'll be talking about Zakatul Fitr, which is more pertinent to Ramadan right now. What is Zakatul Fitr? Zakatul Fitr is the amount of wealth we pay every single Ramadan for every single member of our household. And what is this amount for Zakatul Fitr? It really depends every single year. So this year in the US, it's approximately $10 per person in the household. Who pays this amount? The person who pays it would be the head of household, and the people that are eligible to pay it will be those who have enough sustenance and provision for the next day. So that would be the majority of people in the US, and that amount, actually, that $10 will vary depending on your locality. So it's important for you to ask your local scholars, what is the amount of Zakatul Fitr for us this year? What are the wisdoms behind paying Zakatul Fitr? Why do we pay this? You know, some of the wisdoms that are mentioned by scholars is that during this time in Ramadan, it could be that we make certain lapses in our fast. It could be that we say things we shouldn't. It could be that we're listening to things or watching things, or just some kind of encounter happens that we know is not the most optimal for our fast. So the reason why we pay Zakatul Fitr would be that we get rid of these shortcomings, and it's meant to be an expiation or a removal of these things, these shortcomings that we have. So when do we pay Zakatul Fitr? We pay the Zakah before Ramadan ends, ideally a day or two before the Eid prayer itself, because the purpose of this Zakah is that it's supposed to be distributed to those families who are in need of this wealth so they can enjoy themselves on Eid and afterwards, inshaAllah.
As for the second type of Zakat, that's called Zakatul Maal. That's the regular Zakat we know that we all have to pay once a year. Now, a lot of people end up paying it in Ramadan. That's not necessary, but some people like to choose their one day of the year to be in Ramadan to optimize their reward. So Zakatul Maal is required upon every person whose wealth reaches the Nisab. The Nisab is a certain amount of wealth that one must have. And so you should check in your locality of what is the Nisab for this year. And so if one person reaches that Nisab, then they have to pay 2.5% on all of their savings for the entire year. Now, I know for some of us, this may be something that we've never done, or maybe it's the first year we're going to have to do it, or maybe we've had to do it for a couple of years and we've just kind of neglected it. This is the most optimal time to start a new obligation that you're going to fulfill. Start it in these last 10 nights of Ramadan. Calculate how much you need to pay for this year and for past years that you haven't paid, and inshallah, Allah will be forgiving and even more rewarding in these last 10 nights. May Allah allow this to be a time that we come back to Him and get closer to Him in these last 10 nights through our Zakatul Maal and inshallah through our Zakatul Fitr.
Ameen. So there's one more tip we want to give you for these last 10 nights. That would be giving sadaqah. So we talked about Zakatul Fitr and Zakatul Maal, which are both obligatory and we have to take care of. But going above and beyond would be to give sadaqah, to give regular charity. And who should we give this charity to? We should give it to people in our family, in our society, in our community, those who we know are in need. And obviously those individuals that are refugees and those who are maybe don't have basic needs in their societies. And looking for relief organizations that work with refugees or build wells or build schools, this is an excellent way for us to earn that reward. And one great thing we can do, a great tip for us to be able to make sure we hit laylatul qadr with this reward, would be to give sadaqah, give charity every single night. That way, say for example, you were to give maybe $25 or $20 or whatever you can give every single night. That way you would ensure that in one of these nights, you would have given that wealth, you would have given that money over in laylatul qadr, which would mean this would be equivalent to doing it more than over 1,000 months worth of the reward. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept from us, try your best to give sadaqah these last 10 nights and make sure you don't miss a single night.